Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm doing a Mermail deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one because it's a super fun deck that I really wanted to build, but when it came out, it was super expensive because everything was like super or secret or ultra, or everything was like really expensive when this deck first came out. And I couldn't build it, but now, since everything's been reprinted, I've been able to get a hold of it. I worked really hard to actually get the prismatic rares. I really like the prismatic rares, even though I have super rare version of these, because I actually got these when they were still like $9. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm gonna get my money's worth out of these. So anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell down there so you can become part of the notification squad, and let's get straight on into this deck profile. So first off, we're gonna be playing 3 copies of Mermail Abyss Megalo. Mermail Abyss Megalo is a really pivotal card in this deck because you can discard 2 water monsters from your hand to the graveyard and special summon it, and if you do, you get to add an Abyss spell or trap from your deck to your hand. And it also has the ability that you can tribute another face-up attack position monster you control to make a second attack during each battle phase. Now that does seem like a lot of cost, but it's really not, because a lot of your water monsters trigger off of being sent to the graveyard from your hand for the cost of a water monster's effect. So this really just triggers a lot of your water monster's abilities, which is really nice for this deck because the Megalos just OTK your opponent. Like, I know that just looks like 2400, but 2400 turns into 48, and then it also searches the Abyss scale of Mikazuchi, which gains 800 additional, so it goes up to 32, so 32 swinging twice. So then we play 3 copies of Mermail Abyss Tias. Mermail Abyss Tias is you discard 1 water monster and special summon it from your hand, and then you get to add a level 4 lower Mermail monster from your deck to your hand, which we have a bunch of level 4 lower Mermail monsters from our, plethora of deck choices. Because basically this is a water toolbox deck, but it really does focus around the Mermail monsters. Then we play 2 copies of Mermail Abyss Spike. I like 2 Spike because when it's normal summoned, you can discard a water monster and then add a level 3 or lower water, or level 3 water monster from your deck to your hand. Has to be level 3, which can kind of combo really well with your Abyss Dine. Abyss Dine is really good in this deck because it has the ability that if it's added from your deck to your hand, then you get special summon it. So Abyss Spike searches Dine and then special summons Dine, and you can link it away for something that you need. 2 copies of Gund. I feel like Gund is a good 2-up, that if it's discarded to the graveyard, you can target a Mermail monster in your grave and then special summon it. So it's a really good kind of Monster Reborn-ish effect that can help you swarm the board, because this deck is going to swarm like crazy, and it's just awesome to be able to swarm. I play a single copy of Abyss Dine, because she's, the cutest of them all, and the best one. When it's added from your deck to your hand, you can special summon it, and then you must control a Mermail monster, activate and resolve this effect, and then when this card is special summoned by the card effect of a Mermail monster, you can target a level 3 or lower Mermail monster in your grave and special summon that target. So it can really help you get a lot of monsters on field with the Spike. You just normal summon Spike, discard something like Gund, and then special summon or add Dine, special summon Dine, and then bring back Gund off of the Dine, and then link them all away for something that you might need. Or, synchro them if you have, like, your copy of Fishborg Blaster that I have in the deck, or is it Fishborg Launcher, or the copy of Deep Sea Diva to be able to synchro, or link, or XYZ, or whatever you need in this deck. I do play a single copy of Osea. Osea and Mander kind of help us go into VFD, or the True King of All Calamities in the TCG, so we just play that for that combo. And then for the Atlanteans that we play 3 copies of our Atlantean Dragoons. Dragoons is here because it has the ability that when this card is sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster effect, you get to add a Sea Serpent type monster from your deck to your hand, which is Abyss Tias or your copy of Megalo, which can search them, or it searches Marksman, Neptibus, or Heavy Infantry as well. Which, speaking of them, we do play 3 heavy infantries, because the reason I play 3 heavy infantries is it gives us additional normal summon, and if it's sent to the graveyard for the effect of a water monster's effect, you get to target a face-up monster your opponent controls, or 1 face-up card your opponent controls, and destroy it. So it's a really good card to be able to have. 2 marksmen, if it's sent to the graveyard, you get to target a face-down card on the field and destroy it, which is a really good effect as well. And it also has the ability that when it inflicts damage to your opponent, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Atlantean type Sea Serpent monster from your deck. So if you get it on the field and then you inflict damage to your opponent from like a direct attack, you can put something like your copy of Dragoons on the field and then be able to swing at your opponent again. And then I play 3 copies of Neptibus. the Prince. 3 copies of Prince is awesome. It's always what you want to search first, or get onto the field first. You send an Atlantean monster from your deck to the graveyard, and then you get to add an Atlantean monster from your deck to your hand. It also has the ability, if it's sent to the graveyard, to activate a water monster effect. You get to target an Atlantean monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So it's a really good card to be able to just go into all sorts of plays. It's always viable. It's always good to have a single copy of your Prince in your hand as your first starter card. Either this or the Tias or a Spike is my big starters of the entire game. So that's it for the Atlantean Mermails. Let's get into the tech monster cards. So for the tech monster cards we're playing in this deck, we've got quite a few. First off, you're going to be playing 3 copies of Gameciel. Gameciel is always live in this deck. You tribute an opponent's monster at 2200, and then you just swing over the Gameciel. So it's a really good card to be able to just disrupt your opponent and get off the field. And it works with stuff like Moray of Greed and stuff like that. A single copy of Moral Inglacia. Moral Inglacia, basically, there's really easy to control the amount of Sea Serpent or water monsters in the graveyard. And this card is searchable by the copy of, what's it called? The single copy of Dragoons. Dragoon searches it, so it's a really good card to be able to go into, and just being able to rip a card out of your opponent's hand is really pivotal to be able to, as a starter. So I play this as, you know, a one of in the deck, and if it's special summon, you can discard 2 random cards from your opponent's hand, which just is really good if you're going first. A single copy of Fishborg Launcher. Fishborg Launcher is a good level 1 tuner monster for this deck, that if you have a monster in your graveyard other than this card, and all other monsters are water monsters, you can special summon this card from your graveyard, and you do banish it when it leaves the field. And it cannot be used for the Synchro summon except for a water monster, which is not that big of a deal, because just about everything that we play in the extra deck is water. So that's not hard to deal with Synchro summoning. And then a single copy of Deep Sea Diva, because it does revive stuff. You don't always use Deep Sea Diva to Synchro. Sometimes you just use it for the link play. But it has the ability that if it's normal summon, you can special summon a level 3 or lower Sea Serpent type monster from your deck. It's better than a Searcher. And you just summon this, and then special summon like Prince, and then Prince triggers, and then Prince sends something. It's great when it just combos. This card is so good in this deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're playing a single copy of Monster Reborn, because this card is such a good extender in this deck. 1 copy of Mikazuchi, the Abyss Scale. Abyss Scale Mikazuchi is really good in this deck because it's searchable with the copy of Megalo, and Megalo is only ever going to really search 1 time anyways. It negates spell cards. It can negate 1 opponent's spell card by sending it to the graveyard, so it's good to be able to just negate stuff. And it makes the monster you equip to it 800 more, which is good. Double Moray of Greed. Moray of Greed lets you shuffle 2 water monsters from your hand into the deck and then draw 3. So if you have something like multiples of Megalo or multiples of Gameciel or something like that, like a dead card, or you have Dyne in the hand, you can shuffle them back into the deck and then draw 2 or draw 3 to just kind of refill your hand and get more resources. 3 copies of Mind Control, because we're usually going to go second in this deck anyways to be able to take our opponent's monsters. If you don't want to play this, you can play Ash Blossom or Instant Fusion if you want to play Rare Fish in the extra deck because you don't feel like you're linking enough. But I always find that I'm linking enough, so I don't play Instant Fusion in my build. And then for the last 3 spells, I play 3 copies of Call by the Grave because I just don't want to get hand trapped at all. I don't want to deal with that, so I do play the 3 copies of Call by the Grave. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. Or not the traps, but that's it for the main deck. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're playing a single copy of the Mermail Link Monster. I just play a single copy of it. It's just a good one-up to me. But it's a good card, and for the Link Arrows, it's good. And it has the ability that you have to use a Fish, Sea Serpent, and or an Aqua Monster, which is the entire deck, to link into this. And the monsters this card points to gain 500 attack, which is good, but it's not great. And it also has the ability that during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard to add a Mermail monster from your deck to your hand. Now, that's the good effect about this card, but it's 1600, so it's going to get run over. And it sucks that you have to wait till your opponent's turn. And if this card in its owner's possession is destroyed by an opponent's attack or card effect, you can send a water monster from your deck to the graveyard and then target a water monster in your grave and special summon it. So it's good, but there's better options in this deck. So then I played 2 copies of Mistar Boy. Mistar Boy lets all of our monsters gain 500 attack that are water monsters, which is just pretty much anything in the deck. So it's really good to be able to go into this card. I play a single copy of Phoenix, Cerberus, and Unicorn to pop spells and traps, monsters, and bounce stuff off the field that I just don't want to deal with. Boral Sword to OTK my opponent. Brionac to bounce stuff that I don't want to deal with. Brionac is really pivotal in the deck to be able to go into, because you just want to be able to just, you know, discard cards from your hand for the cost of a water monster effect to be able to balance cards on your opponent's side of the field. This card is really pivotal, and I go into it all the time in this deck. White Aura Whale is another one of those cards that's really good in the deck. People underestimate this card, but Fishborg Launcher is really easy to make this with like Megalo or Tias. And when it's Synchro Summoned, it destroys all monsters your opponent controls, which is really good. And it can make it 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. And this card attacks defense position monster and inflicts piercing. And if this card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect or by battle, you can send it to the graveyard, you can banish another water monster in your graveyard and just instantly special summon it, and if you do, it's treated as a tuner. The tuner effect is not that great. I did play Bahamut, you could go into that with a level 2 monster like Heavy Infantry, but I don't, so that's not really an option. But when you Synchro Summon, it destroys all monsters your opponent controls that are in attack position. It's just so good. For the XYZs, we play a Flare Metal to burn our opponent for 500 every time they activate an effect. Big Eye to take our opponent's monsters, and Abyss Gaios, because Gaios is really good. When an opponent's when it has materials level 5 or higher, monsters cannot attack. Then once per turn, during either player's turn, you can detach from turn this card, negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent currently control, and have their attack that have less attack than this card. So it's really good to just be able to negate stuff. Bahamut Shark for the Totally Awesome, which is going to be our only target for the Bahamut Shark. And then True King of All Calamities, because you can go into it with the Mander combo, with Abyss, Osea, and Mander, and then having like the Tias and the Megalo on the field to be able to make them go up to level 9. So it's really easy to go into that combo. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's a fun deck. The last time I did this, I did Sekka's Light version, and the Sekka's Light version is still pretty viable, and it's good, and I would consider going back to it, but the only thing that I would probably change is dropping the spells for like a Toad engine if you wanted to go for the Totally Awesome plays more, and go in for the copy of Sekka's Light as well. So that'd be like 8 cards that you could put in there over the spells and traps, or the spells. So anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think of this video down in the comments down below. I really enjoy doing these deck profiles for you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.